Today's episode is with Jacob Kester, a student at Indiana University, majoring in sports management and currently pursuing a career in basketball, more specifically in coaching. Thank you all for being here and hope you enjoy this episode.
Yo,
Jacob, what's up, man?
how's it going, Alan? You good?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
That's good, man.
That
It's been a while.
it's been a long time. It's been three, almost four. Because you left early, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
December.
It's been a minute, man. Been a long minute. That's what,
Yeah.
man. That's what Radu texted me. And he was like, "I'm about to talk to Alan on a podcast." I was like, "No freaking way!" And then you hit me up. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Wow."
because Radu told me he told me Jacob's been he's been up to a lot lately and he's been grinding out the well, he told me a little bit about, I mean, I think you heard the episode, so
Yeah.
you heard what we talked about. He told me that you were getting into coaching and you've been working on, I the other day I checked out your Instagram and saw that you post like the fundamentals for like shooting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
drills for basketball. um that's pretty cool. So you've been up to a lot lately.
Just trying to stay busy, just trying to graduate. That's like at the end of the day, I'm so
Yeah.
over school.
Where
So
where did,
over
where did you go
school.
to school?
I started at the College of Charleston. I was there for 2 years. It was awesome, but it wasn't the fit for me. And like in terms of academics and also like the city itself was not for me. Like it's an awesome place. Like highly recommend going to Charleston in South Carolina if you ever could. Like really different, unique environment, great food, awesome, like just the people you meet, but like to live there is a lot. It's pretty hectic and like it just wasn't for me. And the academics weren't to like basically like gave negative effort and still at the 3.5. So I was like, I need to be like pushed a little bit. And then I went to Indiana University. Now I'm there. I didn't get to work with the basketball team last year, but I'm hoping in the fall I'll be able to. I got to work with the athletic department though, so that was fun. Different viewpoint and angle, but hey, make the most of it. So
In Indiana, I think coach, I don't know if you ever met Coach Wright from football in
no,
IMG. So Coach Wright was the head coach when I was there.
okay.
um and when I left, when I graduated, he went to Indiana to coach.
Oh
um
really?
yeah, so
What?
he's there right now. I think he's a tight ends coach. So
Oh
I
okay,
mean,
okay.
it might be worth emailing him or something, since
Yeah.
you have that IMG connection, and
Oh,
trying to reach
I
out.
didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that. I might have to actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a tight ends coach there. At least last time I checked. Um, but I mean, it might be worth a try.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely will. That's a good
Yeah,
call out.
yeah,
Man.
but aside from that, um, why you said Charleston was a very hectic city?
Yeah.
Why? I wouldn't imagine Charleston being like a busy, or I mean, it's the hub for the state it's in, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
still, I wouldn't imagine it to be very hectic, as you said, or party oriented or something like that.
Maybe hectic wasn't the right word. It was just I got mixed up a lot of long nights, a lot of stuff I don't personally want to be involved with. And I needed like honestly, I needed COVID. I needed that break to be like, hey, like you need to lock in. Like too many nights just wasting time, not with people that are making you better, not pushing yourself. Like you should be like it's 10 o'clock. What are you doing out? Like go watch film if you're like having like you can't fall asleep. Read a book. Like I got really into reading over COVID and stuff. Now it's like it gave me the ability to sit back and be like, hey, like I don't think I want to be that guy. I I basically took a 180 from the guy like I was at IMG, I was living the dream, like I was able to work out whenever. I was able to just be in a gym 24/7. And then when not, like everybody there is like high energy, high level people like across the board. And then you go to Charleston, and it's a lot of people that like, oh, let's go to this party, let's go to that party, let's go to the club, let's do this, do that, instead of like doing things to make you better, which like, hey, we're kids, like you should have room to have fun, but at the same time, like for me, I'm more about like if I'm not getting better, or if I'm not being pushed, or if I'm not doing something that I see as something that gets me that 1% better each day, then I ain't about it.
So you played in high school basketball,
Yeah.
and then
Hmm.
afterwards what was you got injured, right?
Yeah, I
It was
tore
your
my
knee?
ACL like
Yeah.
5 games in. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when we were in the dorms with Radu and you were in your, was it a brace? I think it was a brace.
Yeah. You
Um
you didn't see me post surgery. Oh, post surgery was fun. I do helping me helping me 24/7 trying to move around.
yeah, but I mean, have you gotten, I'm sure you've healed up and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
now
That's what I
now
got
fine.
really over like first it was lifting, like I got into it because I had no basketball, so it was like I didn't know what to like replace it with, so I'd try to lift. I'd be in the gym with the guys because I was a manager at Charleston, so I'd be in the gym from 5 a.m. till class, and then right after class practice. Then when practice ended it was kind of like lift, chill out, and then like usually it was going out, but like being in the gym 24/7 and then also having like lifting, it was like I still wasn't playing like at IMG. And even when I was home before IMG, it'd be like basketball or lift in the morning, go to school, practice, then at night do whatever I didn't do in the morning, and then probably even get up some shots after that and then repeat. So it was like I was missing something. I didn't have like an like basketball being like kind of an identity. It was really hard to like be like, hey, like I'm Jacob Kester without basketball. Like that took me forever. Like that was like basketball isn't an identity piece. It has to be like a platform. Like I get like probably you with football, like just it being like so entangled with who you are that it's tough to separate from that and tough to just like find that different perspective, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. With football, I mean, it's funny because I as I practiced more and more and I went through the first couple years playing, I don't know. I started to get tired of it a little bit, which is probably not the case with you in basketball from what I've
No.
seen. I don't know. I kind of lost a lot of the joy I had for the sport.
Yeah.
Um it was so when I was younger, I'd love watching all the not all of them, but I'm a Dolphins fan, so I watch all the all the Dolphins games back in Mexico, and then also at IMG, I try to catch them, and I liked doing that and watching college football and all that stuff. And starting, maybe last year, I'll watch some big games, but if football's on or some games is on, I'm not really gonna put it on just because I don't really find it that appealing to me anymore. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've kind of lost a lot of the interest in it just because I've played it so much that now I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not at the top for me anymore. It's not I don't enjoy that too much. I don't know if you knew, but I went into the transfer portal last year. Um
That I heard in your podcast with Radu.
yeah, yeah, because as I said as I told him, I wanted to go to a good grad school. So um partially that and other things, I was kind of getting tired, feel like I needed a change. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, well, you know what? I'm gonna look somewhere else. And I didn't really get any of the opportunities I wanted. And I was like, well, if I'm not gonna play at a place I want to play, I'd rather just not play anymore
Yeah.
because it's not something that I'm crazy about like you perhaps are with basketball. I mean it was all right, but past that, I didn't really want to keep it going too much. So now I've just been focusing on school and focusing on other things and not playing football anymore, and honestly, I'm fine with it. It's
Yeah.
probably better. So that's a little bit of like what's been going on with me in football. But once you were done with basketball or playing basketball at IMG, and you knew you weren't going to play in college, I mean, you said it's part of your identity. What did you have in mind going into college, how did you want to still be involved with the sport?
I knew before I even chose Charleston that I was going to be a manager for the team. So like a lot of with basketball, like uh the way you like elevate yourself, typically there's like a set path, kind of like in terms of a lot of people do this one thing. It's like you're going to be a manager while you're in college, and then once you graduate you'll be a grad assistant, and then once you're done with being a grad assistant you'll get a like film coordinator or a like skill development coach at the college level, and then it's kind of like work your way up from that to dobo to an assistant, a head assistant, head coach. Like it's kind of like set up that way. But I like going in, I was like, oh, that's what everybody has to do. It's like a set, like, hey, you got to do X, Y, Z, and you're going to just work your way up. So I went in with that mindset. I was a manager for 2 years. Awesome experience. Like being in the gym with NBA guys, being in the gym with just having the opportunities I was presented while I was there, building relationships, networks, like everything that you could. The experience is so unique, like it's hard to explain unless if you were like in it. Um, just doing all the background stuff, making sure that the gym's ready, that guys are where they're supposed to be. Like it's so much goes into that job, and it's an awesome like it's a hard job, but it's incredible. And then I was kind of like fed up with not feeling like I was impactful, even though like I just said all that. Like in the moment, I was like, hey, like I just don't feel like I'm helping. Like I just don't feel I'm doing anything of like actual impact. So I was like, let's like maybe get away from this and go to Indiana and see like, hey, this is a big program. If I can get involved there, maybe it'd be even like more responsibility. And then I didn't have that opportunity, but I was able to work with the athletic department. And in that role, like for a while, I was like, hey, like I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm actually like impacting the whole athletic department, like doing little things here and there that can make a big change for how people are at events, how people are at games, like premium areas, what like they're offering, like that type of stuff. I felt like, oh, I'm like helping, like just like feeling impactful. And then I like miss basketball. Like my boss is like awesome. I'm like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this again. Like, I enjoyed working for you. I really like this side of things, but it's not basketball. Like that is, it's not my identity anymore. But it's like, it's still 365, like 24/7, 365. I'm always trying to learn more, trying to meet people, trying to just do as much as I could to make myself in the best position possible when a job opportunity comes to be able to just go in and crush it and then go to the next level and see what happens.
So you don't think coaching can be characterized as though being associated with the identity of basketball? You think it's
I don't think
not?
so.
I mean, it's not the same as playing, of course, but so what you kind of feel is that okay, the next best thing is coaching.
I I don't know if I'd say it was the next bet. I think it was more like I love basketball and my perspective about it shifted. Like being a player, it's like, hey, I have practice, I have this. Like like in my position now, it's like I choose to do these things. Like I'm who I am. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna watch film in the mornings before class. Hey, I want to like the whole like I guess you could say that as a player. Like, hey, I'm gonna go get shots. Hey, I'm going to like go to practice. I don't have to go to practice. I'm gonna go to practice. Like I guess I just didn't have that perspective and getting more mature, stuff like that. Like coaching though, I feel it's more of a platform, like a more of a like teacher. You're more relationships. It's like being the dad of all these people, like building these relationships, helping people improve. Like you're not necessarily like it's not all basketball. Like if somebody's upset as a coach, you have to be the one to like help that situation, be there for them, understand their like background, understand their values, beliefs, like, hey, like I respect this, but like to deal with issues that are beyond the court or field of play. I think coaching is just so much more than the sport itself that it's just so appealing to me. Like I love being in situations where I have to talk to people, being around people, and like coaching could really do that because it's all network, it's all relationships, it's all being able to communicate, being able to put people in positions to be successful rather than doing it, like rather than shooting that shot for the win or making that pass. You're the one just designing it all and letting it happen.
So coaching was your way of still being able to be involved with the sport. Yeah,
Yeah,
and making an impact, like you said.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's just like I don't it might like I view basketball, I guess it is still part of my identity, but like I guess I to myself I'm kind of like, hey, I'm gonna use it as a platform to impact people. Like to be a good person, bring light to the world, do good things. And like I think that basketball is like my only way of doing that. It's one thing that I feel like I have a good feel for. I understand. It puts me in, like, I've met so many great people. I've traveled so many really cool places through the game that I think it's just given me so much. And I want to be able to give that to other people too.
So would you say, like, what's your plan moving forward? I know that, being in Indiana and you working with the athletic department before, how do you like, do you have something in mind as to how you're gonna get back into the special, like, specifically the basketball side of things and not just the athletic department as a whole?
Yeah, so my boss was like kind of like she helped a lot with the basketball team. She was kind of like our head coach's like personal assistant, and she's hoping to get me in. If not, I'm gonna work for her again. But she said she'll give me more time to be able to work on my content on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, like just be able to really grow that. But she's awesome. Katie Bates, shout out, she's a legend. But after college. I have hopefully I could be a GA. I have a good bit of connections right now from Charleston, from being at IMG to a good bit of college programs, and I stay in touch with almost everybody from IMG. Like they're like second family to me. And then just GA, work my way up. The golden situation would be is getting an opportunity with a G League or NBA team as a low level entry level job and just like working from there. My goal at the end of the day is to be an NBA coach on the bench. I don't even care if it's head coach. Like you're on a bench on an NBA team. There's like 100 of those jobs in the world, so it's like you're one of the best, if not the best, at it. So that would kind of be the goal. But for short term, see what happens between being a GA, being low level NBA, G League. Like those are kind of some options. My frisky option would be follow the Nick Nurse path. So Nick Nurse is the coach of the Raptors, and he started off as a player coach in England. So I keep like making a joke like I'm gonna go to England and start up over there.
I mean, there's I'm sure I don't know how many people actually have done this, but I mean, of course there's a lot of players that come from Europe, so I imagine there must be coaches that do as well.
Yeah, no, a lot actually. The Euro League is very high level basketball. So the coaches in the Euro League get a lot of opportunities to really like get over here if they want. A lot of them are like from like the one guy, the Spanish team, like Spanish national team coach is from Spain, grew up in Spain. I think he coaches Barca right now, and they're one of the best teams in the world in the Euro League. So it's like that guy just does not want to leave Spain, and he's seen as one of the best coaches. So like they definitely have opportunity to come over here, but a lot of them are from over there. It's their home, and the life is awesome to be in the Euro League.
Have you watched Hustle?
Oh, 10 out of 10. Great
Yeah,
movie.
I watched
10
it
out.
yesterday. I think yesterday. I liked it. It's a good movie.
Oh, that was a phenomenal movie. Like that is probably the best like sport movie ever. Like that was very good. Like the
I
sport
don't know about best sport movie ever.
that's just like I don't think that there's another movie where like the actual them playing sport is like legit. You know what I mean? Like I think that like that part of it was like the best part. I think
Like
the
the
movie
actual
itself,
shots,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Anthony
the camera
Edwards, like
shots.
Anthony Edwards scored all those, but like he didn't like they didn't have to cut anything. He wanted to score every time, and then the guy that played the lead, Hancho Hernan Gomez, he didn't want to like not like miss. So all the shots were legit, all of that. Like usually in those movies, it's like they cut. It's like the ball going in, and then they'll cut back to the guy shooting. Like it's like complete bull. And like that was legit. That's what I loved about it. And then like the story itself was like awesome. And it showed a lot about like the side of like front office and coaching and like all the moving pieces behind that people don't really notice.
How much or how accurate do you think it is, like as an accurate representation of how it actually kind of goes down when it comes to bringing people from Europe, players from Europe?
I don't think the story itself was probably like not that like I don't think that happens a lot. I feel if you're good in Europe, people know about you, you'll get scouted and like it'll happen. I just don't think like I think the odds of somebody finding somebody playing pickup at a park and getting them into the league is like that's what made it a movie. That's the part that I'm like that just wouldn't happen.
Aside from that, like from a process perspective, and as in getting them into the combine and getting into those showcase games and stuff like that. Is that accurate?
I think it was pretty legit. I
Okay.
don't think like because a lot of that was like there's a ton of pickup games that go on at that level that are just like completely underground, like nobody knows about them unless if you're there. So it's like stuff like that. If you're like a casual, you might not know that that happens. You might not even know if your favorite player works out or not because they might not post on Instagram. Like everybody more worried about what they're putting on IG instead of what they're actually doing. Um, so I think that that was a really good like touch because a lot of that was like behind the scenes, like they're playing pickup and they're getting better without anybody knowing. And then like I think that the story itself was good, but like there are parts like I don't think a kid like that in that storyline would get a chance to go to the combine. Like that would be a stretch because he had no professional, no high level basketball background that I don't think somebody like that would end up at the combine.
Yeah. How do those are so those undercover games are actually legit? They actually happen?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what
That's cool.
like
I didn't know that.
at Charleston, like even just college guys have underground pickup games and stuff. Like Charleston, we had three Division 1 schools in the area, and once the off season hit, it was kind of like, oh hey, like we got these guys from College Charleston, Charleston Southern, North Charleston, and like, hey, we're gonna meet up at this gym at this time. You want to come? Like that'd kind of be how it like ran. I know at Indiana, once the season ended, um, I think uh, a couple guys played in like tournaments at dorms and apartments and stuff. It wasn't as much undergrounded, but like they still play. Like you know that there's games going on that people don't know about.
That's interesting. That yeah, I don't think that happens with football.
Playing 7-on-7 pickup underground.
Yeah, I mean not that I know of at least.
I feel
I think
that's
it's
just
too
so
risky.
tough. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, and still, I think if you're a say Indiana's head coach or whatever, and you find out that your guys went and played some pickup somewhere, you'll be like, well, like what are they doing?
yeah,
This is not
yeah.
good
That's what during the
because
off
you risk
season.
injury.
That's the tough part. I
Yeah.
personally think playing is better than like doing drills. Like I think the more you can play, it's better for the guys. So like I think if I was a coach, I'd be like, hey, like if you play pickup, I just want it under control, like under somebody's watch, where if somebody does get hurt, there's like people there to like deal with it. So that'd be my only concern. That like I don't think the odds of somebody getting hurt are pretty low, but like it could happen. I just guess that might be me just being like let the kids play mentality.
I mean, that's
But
fair. I'm sure
yeah.
you know more than about this than I do, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
What so it like what do you do? I know you post stuff like I said on your Instagram. Um and I saw, like I said, like I think it was a fundamental shooting drill or breakdown.
Yeah.
So what kind of things do you post, and like what's your um I guess process with or approach to these videos and to these things?
So, like the whole gist is just like, hey, like I think a lot of people don't know basketball and they think they do. And I'm just kind of like, hey, like even if like you're a kid that knows nothing and you just like love watching basketball, or like you're a casual NBA fan or something like that, like the whole gist of the content is to make something presentable that you learn something, that like you understand the game at a little bit of a higher level. Like I'm not going to drop in and like drop a whole coaches meeting on your head and be like, "Hey, I hope you understand this." Like there's a whole different language of basketball. There's a whole different like just understanding when you're in those like higher level conversations. I bet it's the same with any sport. Like being in a coaches meeting compared to somebody talking to a fan is like two completely different conversations. Or even like players in the locker room talking to each other about schemes or coverages or something is completely different than when you talk to your buddy about the game, you know? Uh, so the whole gist is just try to improve people's understanding and knowledge of the game. We did a little bit of a rebrand to make it like prettier, kind of, so it's more visually appealing. That rebrand happened last summer. I've been doing YouTube videos for it's about to be 2 years at the end of July. It started with some scouting reports during COVID. That was my first little videos, and then I did some videos for Charleston in the fall of 2020, just because they saw I was making some videos. They're like, "Hey, help us out." So I made some videos for our film coordinator. Then uh, as it went, it was kind of like I just did scouting reports at first, and then I was like, "Hey, how do I keep this going?" So I was starting to do player of the weeks, stuff like that, like little, like tiny 4 or 5 minute videos. My scouting reports at first were like 15 minutes long; they were way too long. Um, but it kind of just like I was having fun with it. It was my way to stay connected to basketball. Uh, Now it's like kind of like I'm trying to make a little bit of a mini business slash brand off of it, have it like actually like seem like meaningful when I put it on a resume, instead of like, oh, this kid makes a couple of YouTube videos, has a podcast, like what's the big deal? But like I want something that has like a following, has a fan base, like has people like if you talk to a regular basketball fan, I kind of hope like at one point this could be like, hey, do you watch Just Hoops on YouTube? They have good content. I learned X, Y, and Z from them. Uh, the Instagram is newer. I'm starting to do shorts, starting to do TikToks. I hate TikTok. The reels that you see on Instagram basically go straight to TikTok too. But I don't really care about TikTok. I hate TikTok. Oh my god, that's a
Why do
whole
you hate
other rant.
TikTok?
I I think it's so like it shows how dumb society is. I just like I can't stand it. Like I can't stand it.
I like going there for my daily dose of laughs.
That's like I feel like people like, yeah, okay, you can be on there for 5 minutes, but it feels like 30 seconds. That's the issue. Like
Yeah.
I when it first came out, I would be on that for like 2 hours and not have an idea. Like go on it at like 11, like I'm about to go to bed. Let me just scroll through a little bit. Next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like that's like my big issue with it.
Yeah, it's like you just you like mindlessly scroll through the
Yes,
videos, and yeah, like you said, before you know it, it's been an hour, 2 hours, and I'm like, man, like what did I just do, bro? Like I just
exactly.
wasted an hour of my life doing nothing.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah,
conversation I have every time. Like, man, I just wasted an hour of my life.
yeah, and I know what you mean, and it's also like you post stuff on TikTok, like you said, you're starting to get into it. It's different. Okay, so this relates to the TikTok stuff. I'm guessing you film your videos, right? Like you are the one
Yep.
filming them and you edit
Yeah.
them, edit them,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, when I post things on TikTok, because I posted some things as well, you have to look for the differences in like the aspect ratio as opposed to just a regular video, right? Which is which is like horizontal, but then TikTok's vertical and the aspect
Yeah.
ratio changes. You gotta account for that. You gotta account for once you change the aspect ratio, you gotta worry about the the quality of the video. So a lot of times it drops because it zooms in and it maybe stretches the image or something. So it's
Yeah.
it's 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 a different thing you gotta learn. And um, in that sense, it can be a bit tedious if you don't know it and know how to work it. But I mean, if at the end of the day, there's so many people using it that you have to,
You
if you
have
want
to.
to, yeah, if you want to like be put yourself in the best position to put your content out there, whatever it may be, you have to learn how to use it and like take advantage of it. Because if
Yeah.
not, it's just you're missing out on such a big audience that you could be reaching.
Oh, that's the only reason I'm on because it's a mandatory platform at this point. Between that and then everybody like YouTube has their shorts now. Instagram with its reels. I think Twitter has something going on too now. Like it's all just like everybody's trying to get their own version of TikTok. And like TikTok is its own, like it's the brand of that. So it's like you have to use it. And then Instagram reels are getting pushed a lot in their algorithm. So it's like, hey, if you're making content for TikTok, you need to put something that's similar on Instagram. Like similar message, like you need to do that too because is just such a big platform now with how the algorithm is and stuff like um I have a buddy that made an app and he was like, hey, like you need to do this, like it'll help you like incredibly. It was he was like Tuesdays at 9 a.m. He was giving me times that are hot and stuff and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna post them. Like it's gonna be really bad at first, like I have no idea what I'm making. So first one got like maybe like 24 or 3,000 or something like in that range. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of views, like in
Three
like an
thousand
hour.
views.
Yeah, on Reels.
Wow.
Like it's like for like it being like nothing, like it's like, hey, the algorithm pushes it at these times. I was like, oh, thank you, man. Like
At 3,000 is a lot.
that's yeah, it's like not it's awesome because like even if just somebody sees it, they don't have to follow your page. It's just like if it pops up continuously for somebody, they might end up following, they might go to the YouTube, they might hit it, find the podcast. Like it opens up a lot of doors just for them seeing your content for 30 seconds, you know?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Let's say it's 3,000 people that see it, and let's just say 0.5% of people that actually see it try to engage with your page or like follow it or like the video or something. 0.5% of 3,000 is what 30 is 15 people. So
Yeah.
15 people per post. Like that's pretty good.
That yeah, and
Like
that
at first, of course, and then you want to build up, but it's not bad to start.
no, it's not bad at all. That's what I like when it started with that, I was like, oh, this might be the move. Thanks, man. Like
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be able to work into those things.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, for sure.
yeah. Aside from basketball, is there anything else that you I mean, it's so coming from me, my experience when I played football a lot and was focused in that a lot. I I mean, at times I felt overwhelmed, maybe it maybe bored. I'm not saying that you get bored from basketball. I'm sure you love it, and it's probably not the case. But maybe at times I think it's likely for a lot of people that are focused on a single thing a lot of their time that they get somewhat overwhelmed with that, or maybe you need some sort of other distraction. So
Yeah.
do you do anything like anything else? What's your hobbies, or do you focus on anything else, or just basketball all day every day?
Um, I'm pretty into health and fitness. I ran my first race in April. I got really into running. It's kind of me being the size I was for as long as I was. I never thought I'd be in. I hated running. I hated sprints. I hated it all. And then like over COVID, I came back and I after IMG, I put on like 40 pounds, like nothing, like at Charleston, and I needed to get back in shape. I needed to do something. So it was like started doing sprints and I was like, hey, this is I feel good after. It like doesn't bug me. Let's run a mile. Let's run a mile every day. So it was like all fall I'd wake up, run a mile. And then I got to Charleston. It was like, hey, let's run like 2 or 3 miles in the morning. And then it turned into that. And then now it's like if I hit 3 miles is my minimum. Like if I run, it's like I'm gonna go 5K and then Me and my sister ran a 10K because she didn't want to run a half marathon in April. I got really into it. I love like the mental like solitude. You don't have a screen in front of you too, so it's like give me a long run and get me out there for an hour, hour and a half. I'm gonna just enjoy my peace, enjoy my quiet. Along with that, I keep up with lifting. I got really into nutrition. Um, right now I'm kind of like heavily invested in like an animal-based diet, like heavily like I'm all in on it. Did a lot of like research on that at nights. Big reading guy. I'm on my like seventh book of the year or something right now. I slowed down a lot with school. I took a lot of classes, so that kind of hindered my reading habits. But books also, like between reading and running, it's giving me a like a break, takes my mind off the game. Everybody needs a break from whatever their passion is. Like, hey, like you might love it or whatever you're doing, like do that. But like everybody needs a minute off. Everybody needs to decompress. Everybody needs to just find a thing that takes their mind off of that. Or also like you might read a book and it might be like spark an idea for your passion. Or you might go on a run and something clicks in your head and you're like, oh, I need to do this for this. And like it's opportunities for you to get better without shoving yourself in content or shoving different things down your throat that are the same thing. So it's like it's a good for me. It works. Some people hate running. Some people can't stand to read. Got like listen to a podcast. Like I know this is a podcast, but I listen to podcasts more than music. Like I just want to learn as much as I could from anything outside of the game with the game. And I think like reading, listening to audiobooks, podcasts, running, like those things allow your mind to free up and expand and get different things, different habits. So that's just some things I do.
I don't like to read. Yeah, I don't like to read. I find it's hard for me to read. Well, a lot of times I'll be reading, and next thing I know, I just didn't know what I read for the past 2 pages or
Yeah.
something like that. I get distracted very easily when I'm trying to read. So, but I do like to learn, and I like to learn a lot. That's one of the reasons I made this podcast is because I want to learn from people. I want to learn things. I want to learn just just more like become more knowledgeable, right, about everything. And each person brings their different, I guess,
Oh,
in
100%.
input and information with them and their knowledge, and to be able to share that, I think that's valuable. So I do like to learn a lot, but I don't like to read. And so a lot of times, if I have to read something for school, I don't really read for fun because I don't like to read, right? But if I have to read something for school, I'll usually download the Audible and I'll just listen to it just because it's so much
Yeah.
easier for me. Again, like whether I'm driving or I'm working out or just hanging out or whatever, I don't mind putting on like an audio version of a book or a
Yeah.
podcast or something like that, and I will learn through that rather than reading.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it just depends. Like you said, from each person is different, and each person finds their own ways to get distracted. Um, from the few books that I have heard or like know about, um, one of the ones that I think that was good. I didn't finish. I haven't yet fully finished hearing it or listening to it in Audible, but it's David Goggins' book. I don't know if you.
Which oh, it was so good. I did
Okay.
the audio version because he his like buddy reads it and then it's like the in the middle of chapters and stuff he talks. Is that the one you got?
I think so. I don't
That
remember
like
if he reads it fully or if
he
someone else reads it.
Goggins doesn't read it. It's like his
Okay.
the guy that
I remember
co-wrote
he
it.
reads at least parts of it.
He Goggins will jump in between chapters and it's like a podcast. That's what I
Yeah, I
thought was
think so.
awesome because he's like, "Hey, I don't want to read this book. Like I want somebody else to read it because I want it to relate to people because you hear my voice on Instagram, you hear my voice on YouTube, like you hear enough of me. Let somebody else tell my story. I already told it enough times." So that's what he said. I was like, hey, like respect it. Like and it's all that might be the best audiobook I've ever listened to. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it's it once I heard his story and like listened to some podcast where he was involved in. I don't know. It my mindset again kind of like shifted a little bit because his story is impactful and his drive is admirable, and I did like to hear everything he said, and like I don't know, it's like I said, it's impactful. I recommend it to you to well, not to you because you've already listened to it, but to other people. Um,
Yeah,
it's a good read or a good listen if you don't want to read. Aside from
100%.
that, what do you like? What do you have any books that you recommend or something
My
that you think stood out to you?
my favorite like my favorite three books are Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, then The Alchemist and The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari are probably my three favorite books. The Matthew McConaughey Green Lights book, just his story is second to none. Like it's incredible. Yeah, I couldn't put down the book. Like it's genuinely so like you wouldn't expect it. Like he is an actor, but like now at this point, he's like basically has his hands on business, has his hands as a teacher. He still acts, produces. He wrote a book. Like he does so many things at a high level that's like, hey, how did this dude end up this way? It was really awesome to learn about that. And then The Alchemist is just it gives you a different perspective on life and just attacking things from different angles and seeing the world differently. Like after that book, I was like, I know that that's a very school book. You like have to read it in high school, blah 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 and stuff. But I didn't read it till after high school, and like being able to read it and be like, hey, like this book is like a deep meaning, deep message, and it really resonated with me. And then The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari is kind of in line with The Alchemist in terms of just giving you a perspective on life, giving you just tools and lessons to learn and live by. And those, The Alchemist and Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, were really big in me during the pandemic and like just getting my act together, figuring out who I want to be, what direction I need to head in, what I need to do. And it was very good for me at the time that I read it. They're actually two of my rereadables. Like I need to get my hands back on them sooner than later.
Yeah, I haven't heard about them. I mean, I've heard about The Alchemist. I think I might have read it in high school, or at
It's
least
one of those that like a lot of teachers are like, hey, you need like here's this book, enjoy, and then give me a report.
yeah, or at least I was supposed to read it. One of those two. I don't
Yeah.
remember because I don't remember what it was about, which means that I probably didn't read it fully. Um, but if you think it's really good, it might be worth checking out. Um, so that's good that you recommended that one, and then the other two that you mentioned, um, again, those might be worth checking out as well. What would do you want to just, I guess, plug in your Instagram and your podcast before we wrap it up?
Well, if you're into basketball, check out the Just Hoops page. It's on YouTube, and then on Instagram, it's Just Hoops underscore B ball. On Twitter, Just Hoops 5. Uh, we got a lot of content coming. My brother's getting mixed up with it now. He's like our little GM, trying to like put some trades together and stuff. So if you like basketball and if you like want to learn about the game or even just like kick back as a casual, tune in tonight. Well, yesterday or whenever. When does this come out?
Probably I'll try to get it out tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So if this
Yeah.
comes out Tuesday, on Monday we had a live stream for the NBA Finals Game 5. So just tune in. We got a lot of fun stuff plugged in for the summer. So yeah, but
Oh,
check out this podcast first with
well, Jacob, you're up to big things, man, and you're on a good path. I'm glad you're you know, focusing on the right things now, like you said, and
appreciate it,
you're
man.
you're on a good path. I wish you the best of luck always, and I'm sure you'll be killing it there in the NBA, hopefully
Hey,
sometime soon.
we'll see, man. We'll see.
It takes time. It takes time and effort and everything, but I'm a firm believer that if you put in the effort for something and it's a real possibility for you, then go for it, and I'm sure it can be achieved again if you put in the sufficient amount of work necessary, like whatever's necessary to accomplish it. It can be done. I think
100%.
so. But man, yeah, thank you. And again, I
Thank
wish you
you.
best of luck.
Thank you, man. We'll stay in touch, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All
Thank you.
right.